Okay, so let's do three, two, one, and clap. You know the drill. You
Yeah.
got this.
Okay.
Three, two, one. Yay! Okay. Okay, you guys, welcome to an extra special episode of Lady on the Street podcast. I'm your host, Priscilla, and today I am thrilled, beyond excited. Like, I can't even put into words. And we don't really have like much to talk about, but we're going to talk about a lot of shit at the same time. So I'm here with a lady who knows me very well. Let's just say from the moment we wore the same outfit, we just clicked. Actually, before that, I thought she was a little shy, but boy, oh boy, was I wrong. In fact, she's one of the most outgoing people I have ever known, and she never fails to liven up a room. I didn't say lighten up or brighten up because they say that that jinxes people, but
Oh,
you liven up a room.
I did see like a flock of crows earlier today,
Oh,
so
no.
oh no, maybe scratch that part.
No, but really, give this girl a karaoke machine and she will go hard on The Devil Went Down to Georgia, or even my personal favorite, her rendition of Colt 45. But this lady doesn't just know how to have fun. She is truly a great friend. She's super talented, hardworking, inspiring, hilarious, and most of all, extremely down to earth. The list could go on and on, but at the top of it these days is being a brand new mama. Brand spanking new. Ladies and gents, say hello to a lady who is nearest and dearest to my heart. Some might even call her a BFF, Alyssa Medrano.
Well, hello.
Well,
I was
hello.
like, I love when you do those little intros. They're always so great. They're so reflective of Priscilla's skills as a professional. Like she goes and digs deep and gets some really good facts, and she's a beautiful writer, and I love what she does with everyone's intro. So I was like, well, what is she gonna say about me? And can it double as my, I guess, obituary, since we might have been jinxed right now.
I'm like, we'll just inscribe this on your tombstone.
I'm like, can I get a copy of that and keep it for my obituary?
I said she livens up. I was typing it, and I was like, somebody told me the last time. Was it you where you were like, when somebody dies, they always say, was it you? You were like, they say she would really brighten up a room, and then the person dies. I don't know who it was. Very morbid, but you don't brighten the room. You liven it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna drive extra careful on the way home. I
Oh
mean,
no.
10 and 2, 10 and 2. No music.
Oh my gosh. Well, like this right here. So, first, let's just say we are having. What are we having? What are we having?
A mimosa.
Oh, you got me. I said mimosa, not a babosa.
Should we do a little ASMR action?
I love it. How loud can you go? Let's see.
Sorry to the people who hate hearing
Mhm.
people eat and drink. You can hear it.
Was it loud? Could you hear it?
Yeah, you can hear it. It wasn't loud, but
Oh, I'll try harder
yeah,
next
you
time.
could.
Yeah. No, I love a mimosa. Mimosa. Look, it's already hitting. It's kicking
Me
in.
too. Now, I didn't see you pour it, but do you do like half and half
No.
or mostly champagne?
Hmm.
The one problem I do have with people nowadays
Okay.
is where they'll do like all the way to the top with champagne and then they put one drop.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I wanted champagne, I would have ordered champagne.
Yes. No, I was
I
gonna
would,
make a joke and like do the whole bit, but I don't have a dropper. But
yeah.
no, I did like this, and it's probably like I don't know math.
I like a good. I mean, I like a little more champagne, but I
Yes.
like a even
It's probably
amount.
like if you were doing a cup, it's like 3/4 champagne, a quarter of
Yeah,
juice.
yeah.
You know?
It tastes good.
Yeah. Thanks. I was gonna say what makes it I actually do like a mimosa with like pineapple instead of
Yes.
OJ. I should have done that.
I think I had one at Nala brunch the other day with mango. It was so good.
You would get it accurate. Like I
Mhm.
think I've always called it Nola. It's Nala.
Yeah,
Like
like
Nolans.
Nolans. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was today years old when I like learned the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
I'm wondering though, do you even know what I'm talking about when I say like we clicked when we wore the same outfit?
Yeah, that picture that we have where we're wearing a black dress
That's
and
my
the jean
girl, yeah.
jacket. And then do we have the same shoes? I think
It was like
we
similar.
had like brown strappy sandals, I
Yes.
think.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Mhm.
No, so a little background. So we did meet in the corporate world, and I worked at our office for about 6 months, I'd say, before I even really like said a word to you.
Yeah.
Again, I always thought you were shy, but
Shy is not the word that I get. Usually people say that I look mean or like I'm a bitch
yeah,
or or
really,
they're intimidated by me. And it's just cuz I'm always just in the zone, you
yeah.
know?
Well, and that's what it is. We do work in a space, and I'm not going to say where, obviously, but like we work in a space where it's so fast paced.
Yeah.
So yes, you're always just like, doing
Mhm.
your thing, and
And when people bug you, you're like, "Oh my god."
yeah, and you are a little snarky
Yeah.
sometimes. So like yeah, I guess I could see why people would think you're a bitch, but
Yeah.
just kidding.
I really only get that at work though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I feel like in everything that we've ever talked about or done, like we could have nothing to talk about and somehow we're laughing, you know?
Yeah.
And so after we took that one photo, I'll try and insert it on this video because this was like years ago, probably 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
And after we took that photo, somehow we just decided to become like workout buddies. And at the time, you didn't live that far from me.
Mm-mm.
So we'd meet up every day. And so you really like jump started the first round of me like wanting to get fit and healthy.
Yeah.
And
And at this point she only had her oldest daughter, so it was much easier
yeah,
to
it
do
was
so.
so much easier. But yeah, we would work. I think you would work early mornings and I would work late. So we would meet. I don't know how we would even wrap that. Maybe we were both early mornings.
No, yeah, cuz you were in the mornings but just a little
Just
a
like
little
an
later.
hour or two later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we would leave, go to the gym, and then we would go pick up I would go pick up Bailey. And funny story, one time you were like, "Let's go cycling." Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was just thinking I knew she was going to tell that story. If not, I was going to tell it.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
who's the bad guy in this situation?
I know. So, Annie's gonna kill me because I am notorious for being not late, but like always on time. And for me, on time is like at the time of an event. Sometimes I'm late. A lot of times I'm late, but I try to get there like on time. And that includes picking up my kids, right? So we used to go to the gym like all the time and everything was fine. But at one point in our like friendship, you picked up, well, you've always liked bicycling,
Yeah.
but like you were going hard at this point.
Yeah, we so I invited her on a bike ride instead, and she had a you had a bike.
I had a
that
bike, but a mountain bike.
Yeah, and I have a hybrid bike, so the tires are really really thin, and they go super fast. It's super easy to ride, and hers was really hard to ride. And we went one way down the trail, and she was like behind me the whole time, and she's like, "This bike is so hard," and
I no wait, I didn't even know why. I was like, "Damn, she's so in shape." Like I was dying trying to keep up with you, and you were just like, "La la la,"
Yeah, and I don't know what prompted it, but something snapped and we switched bikes. And then
Mhm.
sure enough, she Priscilla took off and I was the one trailing behind. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this bike is so hard."
And we went far. Like I don't. I am not. I would ride my bike around my neighborhood like for funsies, not for a workout.
Yeah.
But it took us so long to get back to our cars that I was so late to pick up Bailey,
Yeah.
and I was like, "I'm sorry, I couldn't ride the bike."
Yeah, so whose fault is that? Is that mine cuz I initiated the bike ride or hers cuz
Me, because I sign up for shit that I know nothing about.
cuz you knew you should have picked up your kid earlier.
Yeah, exactly. There I was like, yeah, I can make it work, you know?
Uh,
And I think that's my mentality through life is like I'm the type of person that wants to make everything work. And I don't know if I've said this before, but I've told you, I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but that's probably one of Andy's like biggest pet peeves about me is that for anything that we do, like if we have one night out, I'm doing 10 things in that one night. And he's like, no, just commit to one. But I want to do everything,
yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
But yeah, so we were workout buddies in 2017, 2018. The pandemic came along shortly, a couple years after that. And I think what happened though is I switched schedules, and you moved, and so we couldn't meet up
Mhm.
as much as we were. But
So now neither of us work out.
now neither of us, seriously,
Now we're
and
both fat.
hey, fat and happy, okay.
But it's all right. It's all right.
It's all right. There's a time and a place, and right now it just ain't it.
Mm-mm.
No, but I was gonna say, like in that time frame, like since then, so much has really truly happened. So like since then, since 2017, you got married.
Wait, we need to do our Drew Barrymore moment.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, since
Okay,
2017.
continue.
You got married. I had a baby. You got a side job. I had another baby. You had a baby, and life has just been so busy.
Yay!
I was like, did that deserve?
Yeah.
And in between, then we've done like, one of the most epic things that I've done with you as well is like the JT concert,
Oh yeah.
Justin
Oh,
Timberlake.
that was amazing. We were front row
Yeah.
at Justin Timberlake concert.
Tell them, how were you though? You were like,
Me?
yeah.
Oh, I was lit. I was so drunk, and I don't know. I don't even know how that happened. Like honestly,
I don't
like
either.
I remember because we didn't pregame or anything.
Mm-mm.
We just met up and we just went. I remember we got a margarita together, and then we got down there, and then you had went up and brought us another margarita. The only reason I remember that concert is because I have videos and I watch them like every year.
Yeah, but we were like so close though, and I just remember you were like, ah, like you were
I know.
just.
I'm like sorry for the people
I
in the
know.
podcast. Let
I'm
me back
sorry.
up a little bit. But I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
You were like, he almost touched me.
I couldn't even share any of the videos because it was just me screaming the whole time.
I love that so much. That's probably one of my like fondest memories of you
Yeah,
though,
it's
for
good
sure.
times, good times.
But
And
oh,
might I add, we probably paid like I think we paid like 150 for those tickets.
they were yeah, that was pre-pandemic. They were not bad.
Yeah, try doing that now.
Now,
Like you probably wouldn't even be able to find a 150 ticket.
right.
It definitely not one on the floor in the
Mm-mm.
pit. Like it's insane.
Not at all. And if you can even get your like buying concert tickets these days is just insane. You can't even like easily buy them. You have to wait in a line like virtually,
Yeah.
hope to get picked. It's crazy. But yeah, no. I think we even looked at going. That was the Man of the Woods tour,
Mhm.
I believe. And
Yeah.
so then he went on a second tour, and we
Yes.
looked, and the prices were much higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, no, we
We're
got these kids now.
been there, done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever, old news. I was like, he's a cheater now, so.
But fun fact, um, in high school, everyone knew me as Mrs. Timberlake.
Really?
Yes, and I even went as far as to steal a street sign called Timberlake Run. It's over where on the side of town where I grew up or where I went to high school on the northeast side. It's in Woodlake Park.
Yeah.
So if anybody's familiar with that side of town, there's a street called Timberlake Run, and I had one of my friends literally like yank it down. I think it was like kind of hanging off already, like
Yeah.
maybe by one thing, and so we literally got on top of a car to shake it down, and it was in my bedroom
That's
for
hilarious.
years. Yeah.
I always wondered how people get those down. Now I just need a tutorial from you. There's a street called Priscilla in San Antonio, and like I'm sure there's an Alyssa.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal, but but we were kids. What did we
We're
know?
kids. I know. Timberlake what?
Run, I think.
Timberlake Run.
I think, yeah. But one of my best friends still lives on that street. So,
Oh.
yeah. It's so funny.
So
Every time I go visit her, pick her up, I'm like, they replaced the sign.
I need a new one.
And I have no idea where it's at now.
That's funny. Okay, so fast forward a couple of years. 2024. Has this been your favorite year yet?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's so crazy because well, this is the year that I had a baby. Um
I had a baby. It's a boy. It's a girl.
it's a girl. Her name is Stevie. But I feel like we're just now getting into the fun stuff. Like we
Yeah.
took her to see Santa yesterday.
So cute.
So cute. And she's about to be 5 months, and she's in her playful era. She's getting super playful, super cute, just like the best.
Yeah.
It was honestly work in the first part of it. Um but yeah, I mean, it was a little rough having to work through all being pregnant. I'm
Yeah.
like, in a dream world, I'd just be chilling at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so far it's been a great year.
Yeah. It's funny because you've said some things to me recently where well, you started motherhood. I get it now,
Hmm.
and you're slowly like posting to that. You do more
Yeah,
on your TikTok though.
yeah. I
But
started a new Instagram page. It's called
yeah,
motherhood underscore. I get it now.
yeah. And then the other day we were talking about like one of our colleagues who's having a baby and you're like, I'm going to take her a lasagna. And you
Yeah.
said something to me where you're like, I hope you're okay with me sharing this, but you were like, because I'm going to do it anyway. You said, I wish that I had been better to my friends who were pregnant, like before I had a
Yeah.
baby. And I just said, like, well, you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
you know? And just thinking about like our friendship, I've leaned on you so much, even for parenting advice, even
Mhm.
though you didn't have kids, but I always thought like you gave me a good perspective,
Mhm.
especially because at the time, for a long time, Bailey was an only child and you're an only child.
Mhm.
And so I'd always like ask you, what do you think? And
Yeah.
but I and we always connected and you've always been open and but like you don't know what you don't know truly. And so what is something about like motherhood, I get it now. Give me an example of that.
Um, man. Also, this can be really hard for me because I'm so used to asking people questions.
Oh, I know. I
So
hate I hate answering
so I'm
questions.
like answering questions. I'm like, can I get a minute? Let's see. I mean, really it's everything, but I guess I would say just the it's just a constant need.
Right.
Like there's no I would say the biggest thing is I always imagined kind of my identity as like a pie chart. Like a certain section of it is my career. Another section of it is my hobbies. And then when I would become a mother, another section would be motherhood. But since becoming a mother, I realize it's more of just like a moving bar, you know?
Mhm.
And it just you just keep growing and there's more of you to give. So, I guess I would as a friend to so many people who have kids, I always saw them as a whole pie chart of all friend of my friend, you know?
Mhm.
And maybe I saw glimpses of motherhood in them, but to me, it was they were all encompassing as a friend.
Yeah.
And so now it's kind of just clicking that they have other things to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, duh, right? But I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, well, and that is interesting to me because you have like a really close set of girlfriends where I have always thought like, man, these girls really make time to like show up for one another and like make sure that they still have those pieces of the pie that are not
Mhm.
just motherhood, which I think is something that I've tried really hard to accomplish.
Mhm.
Um, whether it's a pie chart or like a moving, but
Yeah.
I think you helped me actually like separate some of that,
Mhm.
where it's like, yes, you're a mom, but you're also
Yeah.
this, or this. And it's funny because you did that without having kids.
Mhm.
But I do think that it's just me watching you become a mom and like realizing some of these things. I don't know. It's really cool to see you like going through this.
Like,
And
I would say for a simple example would be I remember before I even thought about being pregnant, something no offense to anybody that this applies to, and I'm gonna get to clarification. Just wait. But I remember seeing where people would put on their Instagram bios like wife and mother. And I'm like, I never wanted that to be my entire identity.
mhm,
I've always been I've always been chasing something.
yeah.
Um, I a little more about me. I'm from San Antonio, but I went to school in Chicago. So I always wanted to be like that girl that went to school in the city, and
Mhm.
I wanted to thrive and succeed in the city, but that didn't work out. I came back home. Um, then I was just so wrapped up in my career for so long. Even with my relationship, I mean, we had been together since before I moved to Chicago for school, and I didn't want that to overwhelm me. I still wanted to focus on school, on graduating, and um, then as I got into more hobbies, I started doing things like biking and boxing. Um,
Oh yeah, boxing.
yeah, just so many things that I like to do, and I just never wanted to label myself as a wife and a mother.
Mhm.
Again, no offense to anybody that they identify as that fully. That's to each their own.
Right.
But that was never my goal. And once I got pregnant or once I had my daughter, I said, my Instagram is not going to turn into like my daughter fan page, right? I still want to have my identity on my own Instagram. I don't want to post her all the time.
Right.
No, hombre, it don't work out that way. I have been posting her like nonstop.
Yeah.
Like she's just all over my feed. So that would be another like small realization that I get it now. Is that you really just can't help it. Like you just want to post your baby.
Right. Yeah, and we love to see it. Okay, but I do think those little things, like, more people than you think probably feel that way, right? Like, there's, even though there's nothing negative, it's just there's nothing negative to identifying as a mom and a wife.
Mhm.
And like that's it. Like, it's the hardest job, you
Mhm.
know? Especially if that's your full-time thing. Like,
Mhm.
so hard.
And I low key feel like if my husband made enough money, I could probably
He
be
would
a
do it.
wife and a mom.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
And
like
that's it.
it's like prestige,
Yeah.
wife and mom.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do anything else. I welcome it. No, um, but yeah, I feel like a lot of people probably feel like that, where they're just like, oh, she's a wife and a mom now, you
Mhm.
know. But for you, I think you are like navigating, making it not just that for yourself, even though it's like consuming you a little bit. It happens, right? But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Lean into it. Like, it's good. And what I have learned is, like, having an age gap between the kids is that they are only little for so long, you know? And so I would constantly remind myself, like, when I was with a newborn, like, they won't be a newborn forever.
Mhm.
They won't be a toddler forever. And so when they're getting on my nerves, or like they're frustrating me, or I feel
Yeah.
overwhelmed, I try to like remind myself that, like, these,
You're gonna miss this.
you're gonna want.
You're gonna want this back. Literally, my husband sings that
Does he?
all the time, like for no reason at all. He'll just start, "You're gonna miss this."
You guys, the energy that y'all have together, like, talk about matching the energy, you know?
Uh,
It's true though. Like, you have to remind yourself, or else you'll go
I like
crazy.
almost crying laughing. That's funny, but
Oh, it's so true. Like, oh, sometimes these kids, like, sometimes I think the way that I speak about my kids, like, in public, people are probably like, damn, she hates her kids. But I'm just trying to keep it real. Like, they are crazy. They get on my nerves sometimes,
uh,
like, and now they talk back to me and I'm like, what? But, but yeah, like, I
and you're
guess,
really like, can you be a newborn? My husband, he always says, "Oh, I can't wait till I can talk to her and she can talk back." Like
yeah,
he's eager for that stage where she's
yes,
like your kid's age,
yeah.
and I just tell him, "You're gonna miss this."
You're so ridiculous. I can't even say, like, no, so maybe that's a man thing, because Andy would tell me, like, he hates the newborn phase.
Hmm.
It's like not his thing, but when they're a little bit older. Actually, he says he hates the newborn and toddler. He likes when they're like 5 and up, when they can kind of like tell you,
Yeah.
and they're not just crying and you're having to figure out what's wrong.
Hmm.
He says he really likes that stage. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's a good stage, but cute.
You're gonna miss this.
Oh my god, I love
We can
this.
only see eight seconds of that.
Oh, look, that's why it's good that that's why it's good that you're here. You
No
know all
longer,
about.
she's gonna get sued.
I cannot. Um, yeah, no. What are you looking forward to most? Like, what's something that you're like, okay, I have a daughter. First of all, did you want a girl?
Yes, I wanted a girl so bad. If it was a boy, I was gonna give him back.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
don't know if have you seen Riding in Cars with Boys?
Hmm.
Where she's like, "No, I didn't have a boy. I had a
I had a
girl."
girl.
She says, Faye and I were gonna have girls. They're gonna grow up and be just like us." And then the dad says, "No, we had a boy. He's gonna grow up and be just like me."
She cries.
That was gonna be me. If they handed me a boy, I was gonna give him back. I'm just kidding, people. I'm just kidding. But yes, I definitely wanted a girl, and I also always envisioned my husband as a girl dad. I just could not picture him with a boy.
No.
You know,
Why?
I don't know. I can't. He's not like he didn't want. He didn't care either way, but then eventually he was like, "Okay, I want a girl."
Yeah.
And he wasn't the kind of guy that's like, "Oh, I need a boy. They got to carry the legacy." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Um, so I just kind of envisioned us with a girl. In fact, I want three girls.
Oh,
That's
I love to hear this. It's funny because you guys, I have to preface this with like, you didn't think you wanted any
no,
to have your own
no.
kids.
We said we didn't want kids, and we played with the idea of adoption,
Mhm.
which we still would like to do, but it's very expensive. Um, Much more expensive than having your own child.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
wish it were the other way around. But yeah, I didn't want kids, and then one day it just snapped. Honestly, as dumb as it sounds, all my friends were having kids.
Mhm.
And growing up as the only child, I knew that wanted my kids to grow up with other kids at the very least. Like they're
Mhm.
not going to have direct cousins. They may have people that they consider cousins, but they they won't have direct cousins and put who knew if I was going to be able to give them siblings. I
Yeah.
mean, we still don't know. But so once my friends started having kids, I just started reevaluating my own life and thinking that I might be ready, having that conversation with my husband, and it just kind of clicked one day, and we're like, okay, we'll just start trying.
Yeah.
So,
What a like full was it a full circle? No, it's a 180
and I've
because
talked to other people who are now pregnant, and it happened the same way for them.
yeah.
It just clicked.
Yeah.
They just changed their mind like a light switch one day.
Uh,
It's which is crazy.
yeah. Well, she's adorable and I love her name. And so Alyssa's husband's name is Steven. And so you guys went with Stevie.
Yeah.
So cool,
I
so
love a
neutral.
gender neutral name.
Yeah. I'm
Very
like,
cute.
she's gonna be the cool
Which
girl.
I didn't I totally did not think of the possibility that she would get misgendered. It just like didn't
Mm.
cross my mind.
Yeah.
And sure enough, every time we go to the pediatrician, my pediatrician's like, "How's this little boy? He's growing so big." And I'm like, don't you see this big old pink bow on her head?" Like,
They're
hello.
like, we're here to listen,
I
not to
know you got an
judge.
F on that chart. Go ahead, circle it nice and big.
Here's a pink highlighter. But I mean, pink means nothing these days, Alyssa.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean it's fine, but
Yeah,
I set her up for a lifetime of that probably, and
probably.
I forgot.
It's okay. It's okay. It'll keep her humbled.
Hopefully she's cool with
I know, right? You're like, sorry in advance.
it.
No, I do want to tap into what you were saying though, is that like Steven was never the type of person that was like, oh, I need to have a little boy.
Mhm.
Like, Andy was not either. And I wonder if that's like kind of loosely disappearing as the generations change.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe.
yeah, he wanted three girls as well. And so people like by default are like, oh, he got his boy. Is that what he wanted? And I'm like, not really. I
Yeah.
mean, we like thought, and Ian, we love him, obviously. Like he's perfect, and I'm glad I have a boy. But coming from the financial part, we were like, oh, if we had another girl, it'd be easier because we already have everything.
Mhm.
Versus with the boy, and I was like, I want to have a baby shower for a third time. Like people are gonna be like, girl, stop getting
We got to give you
pregnant.
more gifts.
I know.
Jeez.
Yeah, so but no, it worked out well. So I hope you get your three girls. I think that'll be so cute. Um,
So I want three girls. However, I have heard there is a lot of antagonistic behavior with triangles. And maybe you haven't experienced it just yet since Bailey's so much older,
mhm.
and maybe when they get older it'll be. But yeah, that there's antagonistic behaviors with triangles. So like somebody's always left out and somebody's
Mm.
always the bad guy.
Listen, I don't even know if I should say this, but my mom has two sisters.
Yeah, so my mom has two sisters. She has a brother
And if that
too.
ain't accurate,
Yeah. And then I have friends that are part of three
yeah.
as well. And I see that.
Mhm.
Also the Kardashians, for example.
Mm.
They're always in their little eras. It's like
Yeah.
Courtney and Chloe, Kim and Courtney. Like it's
Yeah.
always two of them are in their little era together and the other
Yes.
one's
Left
the
out.
bad one out.
Yeah.
So, but I do have one other friend that has three girls and they seem great.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hopefully my girls turn out like you,
You're
but
like
we'll see.
mimic that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, no, I have just I couldn't imagine being an only child. So like that's just that on its own is so interesting to me, but it's just my sister and I. And so aside from my it's two and two, two boys, two girls. And so my sister and I like we just click. Um And my brothers were close, but I'm glad there's not a third one, or else I'd probably be the one left out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about like going back to not just your content about being a new mom, but like your content in general. You are so open and forthcoming with like all of your life,
Mhm.
you know? Um and recently, like in the last 6 months, I had stopped following accounts that don't like inspire me or don't make me feel good about myself. I purged all of that this year, including the Kardashians, because like they are gorgeous, 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 but like for me it's unattainable.
Mhm.
And so I would look at their content and just feel like bad about myself. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So a
Mhm.
lot of those accounts where I love the people, love their content, but like if it made me feel bad, I would leave it and unfollow. But you are so inspiring. Like I love that for a while before you got pregnant, you were doing marathon training
Yes.
and you were documenting that in its
Yes.
entirety.
Mhm.
Um, are you going to try and get back into that?
I am. So I've been like slowly, I've even started documenting some of my postpartum fitness journey, but it just keeps getting, it hasn't been consistent. I'm
Hmm.
still getting there. But my plan is to start running maybe like the end of January or ideally in January, just depending on how cold it is outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, I I was never a runner. In fact, when I was a cheerleader in high school, when I was in athletics and stuff, we had to do the mile test. I was always the last one. I would have to walk it. I would, when I was a cheerleader and I would go to tumbling classes, we tumble for 45 minutes, and the last 15 minutes was conditioning.
Worst part.
I lied and told them I had to go to church. So, I couldn't stay the whole hour because I got to go worship the Lord. So,
Oh, that's
so I never stayed for I never stayed for conditioning because they would make us do suicides, where we
yes,
run up and
run.
down the mat, and I was like, I am not doing that. So I was literally never a runner. So that's what kind of why I wanted to document my running journey. So I
Yeah.
legit started from not being able to run a mile. The most I got up to was 10 miles, and then I found out I was pregnant literally like I think I found out about a month before the half marathon. I was already signed up and ready to go. And I did a few runs after finding out, but then I had my first doctor's appointment. And my doctor, she said it was okay because I had been doing it, but she
Yeah.
just kind of scared me still. She said, well, just remember, like, this is the most vulnerable part of any pregnancy. And I'm
Hmm.
like, well,
You're like, why did you have to
I
go and
know,
say
you
that?
didn't have to tell me all that. So she just kind of scared me a little bit, and I wanted to take it easy. So
Yeah.
I ended up not doing it, and then I'm in no place to have done it this time. So hopefully next year I can do it and have her at the finish line.
Yeah.
But honestly, I love talking about running though because it also kind of goes hand in hand with my pregnancy journey,
Hmm.
and I've talked about this on my social media a lot before as well, in the sense that I never thought I would ever be able to run a half marathon, or in this case 10 miles. I
Hmm.
never thought I'd be able to run more than 2-3 miles.
Yeah.
And my my body and my training led me to do that, and it really came down to just trusting the process and like letting go and just doing what I need to do. And sure enough, my body led me to comfortably run the 10 miles, and I was just so proud of myself and in such shock that I was able to do it. And when I got pregnant, it kind of, I just took that same mindset into being pregnant, because also another part of me not wanting kids was
Hmm.
that I was deathly afraid. Like, I thought I
Hmm.
would die. I know a lot of people don't think that I guess more people are more positive than I am, but
Yeah.
death was a thought in my head
Hmm.
when it came to thinking about getting pregnant. I was like, I just have this feeling that I'm gonna die at childbirth. I don't know. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Not like a
Well,
feeling,
no, but yeah, I mean, if it's
but
what you're
it
scared
was it
of,
was
yeah.
just I knew that that was a possibility.
Right.
And I know so many people get pregnant um, a lot younger, to where they don't, like, they maybe don't think of all the things that could happen. I feel like the older I got, the more the more I was exposed to, the more I knew, like, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, could
That's
happen.
probably true.
You
You're
know,
right.
because I even one of my best friends, she had her first child shortly after high school, and I remember when I told her that, she said, "I that thought never even crossed my mind."
Yeah.
Like, I think being so young, she just thought, "Oh, oh, I'm just gonna have." I don't. I think she told me she didn't even know that a C-section was a possibility
Yeah.
as well. So I think the older I got, the more I was exposed to things that could go wrong, and the
Yeah.
more scared I got.
Yeah.
And so running really set me up to trust my body and trust the process. And so once I got pregnant, I just I just said, like, my body's going to do what it's supposed to do. It's meant to do this.
Yeah.
Um and the more I relax, the easier it's going to be, and the more I listen to my body, the easier it's going to be not to stress, to have to work out or eat right or try and not gain so many pounds or
Yeah.
whatever. And that's exactly what I did. In fact, I probably can count on my hands how many times I worked out during my pregnancy,
Yeah.
because my body was telling me to take it easy.
Yeah.
And I think that's because, like I said earlier, I've always been chasing something. If it's not a marathon, it was losing a certain amount of weight. It was trying to do, like, when I was in boxing. I mean, you got to do the wicked version like this.
I
You got
haven't
to
seen it. What's wicked?
hold my index finger. In boxing, I even considered, like, doing a fight, so I was working towards that.
What?
So
You're
yeah,
crazy.
I would never do that now, girl. This face is too
You're
pretty.
like, I'm too pretty for that.
No, but I was always chasing something, so I think my body was telling me, like, this is your chance to chill out for
Yeah.
once. So that's exactly what I did, and then I ended up having a very easy birth. I had a pretty easy pregnancy as
Yeah.
well, and
Mhm.
then my birth was very easy as well, and I'm so grateful for that. Um,
Good.
so yeah, running really taught me so much, and it's crazy. And then also, it's just you and your thoughts
Yeah.
when you're running. You're by yourself for miles and miles and miles, and even if you have your music on, you're just thinking the whole
Mhm.
time. And so you really get to reflect on a lot of things. And then while you're physically running, you're like, "Oh my god, I can't do this. I can't do this." You want to stop. And then when you make it to the end, the feeling of making it to the end
Yeah.
is just amazing.
I've heard that there's like a runner's high that you like.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I thought that that wasn't real, and I would be so hyped after
Yeah.
after a 10-mile run. I'd be like, "Oh yeah!" Calling everybody, texting everybody, like, "Let's go
Yeah.
do this. Let's go." We would go do brunch afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a vibe.
I mean, inspiring. I feel like I could never be that girl, but like everybody starts somewhere, you know? And you did bring something up though, is that like uh constantly chasing after something, right? And I want to like talk about that for a little bit because I know that I've seen you do crazy diets, whole 30, just trying to chase who knows what, whatever society tells us is like,
Yeah.
right, accepted.
Mhm.
And so to hear you say like pregnancy gave you kind of the peace, I think,
Mhm.
to just be and
Mhm.
exist and like let your body do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's like the constant stress of trying to attain something, you
Mhm.
know?
And
I'm
even running did that too, because I was always on some sort of diet, but with running, it's you burn so many calories running that you have to eat, and
yeah,
you need carbs for fuel.
yeah.
And so you should not be running on a low carb diet.
Hmm.
And when you finish a run, you are hungry.
Yeah.
And also, you should be drinking electrolytes. And there's a lot of electrolyte drinks that come with calories.
Hmm.
So I just stopped worrying about calorie intake and started worrying about the fuel that I needed for my next run.
Yeah.
And so it really taught me so much about nutrition, and again, listening to my body, and set me up.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch like your journey because not only like to see you get back out there, but to navigate it through having a baby now.
Ooh,
Like,
that part's been rough.
it's very rough though. Like, and sometimes I feel so. I would tell you, like, I don't know. I feel like I just don't like. There's 24 hours in a day, and I always feel like it sounds like an excuse when you say like, "There's." I just don't feel like I have time, right?
Mhm.
And people are like, "Well, you have to make the time," and I'm like, "I know, but the mom guilt of it
Mhm.
all, like, no matter what I'm doing, um, sometimes even this,
Mhm.
because I'm taking time away from them, I feel guilty.
Mhm.
It's the dumbest things. Like,
Mhm.
I could be doing dishes, and I'm like, why am I doing these dishes?
Yeah.
They're like trying to play with me as I'm
Mhm.
doing the
You're
dishes.
like, are these dishes really that important? Like they can
Right.
wait. Mhm.
Yeah. And so mom guilt sinks in for everything, but I'd pray for you that you don't let that like deter you because the world's counting on you, Alyssa. You have to figure it out so the
It's
rest of us
not.
can. No, but like I mean, how has that been? You were sharing a little bit about the mom guilt of it all.
Yeah. Um kind of it just snapped. You bring back you can bring back that pie chart for this one.
Mhm.
Like the 24 hours of the day is
Mhm.
legit like a pie chart. If you're doing more of one thing, it's going to take time from another thing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm just going to have to come to terms with the fact that the mom guilt's never going to go away,
Yeah.
especially like hearing you say that now. But yeah, I was sharing on my social media. Sorry.
No, you're good. Let's both take a moment to do it. Okay.
The other day about um trying to figure it cuz I do have a trainer and I've gone a couple times to see her right after work, and I go straight there, but then by the time I get home, it's 7:30 and she goes to bed at 8. So
Mhm.
I literally just put her to bed and then that's it.
Yeah.
And even the first time I did it, she was mad at me. Like her little I think at this point, and she's like newly 4 months, so her little 4-month-old self was mad at me that that I didn't come home right from work. She usually is really smiley and happy when I get home and greet her. And this day she was mad. So that hurt my little heart, and I have not brought myself to do that again, to go
Yeah.
straight from work. Maybe as she gets a little older and she's able to play with more things, and
Yeah.
I might start doing that again. But so basically what I'm doing now is just doing some living room workouts after she goes to bed,
Yeah.
because that's when I would feel less guilty.
Yeah. No, and I do think that there's a lot of women who are able to maintain like the healthy part of it or like doing it for themselves by doing it at home. I've never been able to nail that down. Like I got a taste of the gym when we started working out and the way that it would allow me to just kind of like disconnect from everything
Yeah.
um and just focus on like what I was doing while I was there for that hour or sometimes 2 hours. There's nothing like it for me, but I just can't.
I definitely prefer the gym, and also especially with my trainer, because we do boxing
Yeah.
almost exclusively when I'm with her, and that's like the funnest thing ever. It's so
Yeah.
much fun. So I would love to be able to do that honestly every single day, but it's not.
It's, yeah, it's not your reality anymore.
Mm-mm.
Do you remember though when we'd be at the gym and like sometimes we would spend more time just like joking around?
Just straight goofing.
Like the videos that they're like like you
It
don't
shows people doing like ballerina things on the TRX ropes. That's what we were doing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I'd just be there recording her like acting a
Oh no!
fool.
When you didn't you hurt yourself
Oh,
when you got
yes.
on that ball and you like slid?
Oh, I don't
It was
remember.
like the Bosu ball, and we saw like a video of someone like going like that
Oh,
on it.
yes.
And
Or you just like glide on it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yes. Yes, and also when I was doing so after we stopped I'm going to be like such a little kid right now. I'm like, "Look at my scar." Like when I would do box jumps and now I have this nasty scar right here because Alyssa abandoned me at the gym and I was on my own, real determined to do box jumps and I like scarred myself. It was so embarrassing. I,
she never went to the gym after
I never
that.
that's why.
That
That's
was
why
the
I gave it
last
up.
time I stepped foot in the gym.
Oh my god, I was like literally I think my skin stayed on this crusty ass like platform. It literally shaved off like a layer of skin. Oh, it was so embarrassing, but yeah, I anyway, what I'm trying to get at is that like even just those goofy times where we'd be there, like, oh, you've
Yeah.
just given so much to me is all I'm trying to say. Is like probably more than you know.
Well, thanks.
And I do like just to preface this, so we have like kind of an age gap. Like I think I'm 5 years older than you. You're 30, 31.
I'm 32.
You're 32?
Hmm.
Oh, you just had your birthday.
Yes.
32. Oh, okay. I'm only 3 years older than you.
Like just I'm friends with a child. Everyone.
I don't know why I thought I was like, she's 30. You're like forever 30 in my mind. Oh, yeah, no. So I guess what I was going to say doesn't count
I know
because
I look like I'm 12, but
I
I
know.
know I look like I'm not old enough to have a child myself.
I know. I'll still get that sometimes. I'm like, okay, calm the fuck down. Like, she's my child. But no, yeah, I don't know. You're just a character. And you're like, again, you really do like liven up every situation.
I wanted to talk about kind of, I know a lot of people say, and I mean this to be encouraging to anybody that's maybe scared of having kids,
Yeah.
but you hear a lot of people talk about how you lose yourself, a part of yourself when you have kids, or it takes years to feel like yourself again. That's not something I have experienced.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like an elevated version of myself, and I feel like I am still the the career woman that I was before.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still the fitness guru that I was before, but I just haven't got there yet. And
She's a newborn still,
yeah.
but you know, yeah.
And now I feel like motherhood just, it's a fit like a glove,
Yeah.
and I don't feel, I know a lot of people struggle with postpartum, and I did have my fair share of baby blues in
Mm-hmm.
the beginning. So not to say like, oh, I had a perfect pregnancy, but but I would have loved to hear stories like that
Yeah.
when I was considering it, which I feel like I did. I mean, I feel like you didn't. Um, your experiences didn't scare me. I
Yeah.
mean, from what I saw, um, you seem to have good experiences as well. But just like on the internet,
Right. I
a
feel
lot of people are like, especially when I was pregnant,
yeah.
I got a lot of stuff. I had to the point where I had to go and block the hashtags of like postpartum, like baby
Mm.
blues,
Yeah.
things like that. Because, I mean, granted, that's something that should be talked about as well. For the
Yeah.
people that are
Mm-hmm.
dealing with it, they should have a space where they feel like they can relate to other people.
Well,
But for people who are scared of that, which I definitely was, I think it's great to hear stories of people who didn't experience it and have the opposite.
yeah. I think that that's so true. Right now, I think like even if you just did one simple search, there's going to be so much conversation about the hard parts,
Hmm.
right? And people, and it's good, like you said, people need to open up. You need to be able to find that community if you're going through it. Like you want to know that you're not alone. But on the flip side, more
That,
people should share the positives.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just because so many people go through it doesn't mean that you're gonna go through it. Just
Yeah.
because you had it with one pregnancy doesn't mean you'll have it with another pregnancy.
Yeah.
Or just because you had a rough pregnancy the first time doesn't mean you'll have a rough one the
Mhm.
second time.
Yeah, and I do think like I'm glad that you say that though because I feel like I share so much with you. And never have I really ever thought. I think when I'm telling you things before you have the baby, I would be like, but like my experience isn't going to be your experience,
Hmm.
right? Or like you'll just have your own journey through it, or your pregnancy could go, you could have it this way or that way. Like we would discuss a lot of different things, but I'm glad that nothing I ever said like really scared you. Um, because again, you've just allowed such like an open conversation where I tell you literally everything. So I'm glad that I didn't like deter you from having a baby.
I will say the one thing that sticks out when you say that though is, and going back to your question of like, what do you get now? I
Mhm.
remember we had a conversation about breastfeeding,
Mhm.
and we both said like, you just got to try hard. Like, just don't give up, right?
Yeah.
And it'll be okay. I mean, you hear a lot of reasons why people end up not breastfeeding,
Mhm.
and on the flip side of that, it's so hard.
It's very hard.
It's
Yeah.
so hard, and you do definitely have to try hard. And so
Yeah.
I did tell a couple of women that I know that are pregnant right now. I told them, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks, especially,
It's
but
so hard.
probably the first month
Mhm.
is so hard. And if you really, really want to push through it,
Yeah.
then it'll be okay. But it's gonna be hard because in the hospital they tell you it's not supposed to hurt. If it hurts, you're doing something wrong, and it's
Yeah.
supposed to be easy. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not.
Literally every
Yeah.
single woman that I have talked to, they say it
It
hurts.
hurts, and literally, like, I mean, you will crack. Your nipple will crack because the
Yeah.
baby's like gnawing on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I never get that either, and they almost guilt you in the hospital.
Yeah. Or they tell you, by them telling you it's not supposed to hurt, then you think something's wrong. And
Right.
then you think, if something's wrong and it continues to feel wrong, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
And I think that's why so many women stop so much earlier.
Mhm.
Um, but I didn't make it too long. I will preface that. So I am in the process of stopping now.
Yeah.
So I'm 5 months postpartum, and
Yeah.
I made it a month exclusively breastfeeding, and
Mhm.
then I started pumping from there.
Yeah.
And even just pumping is so hard,
The
so
schedule is
exhausting.
crazy.
Like
Like
living
to
your life in 3 hour increments
Yeah,
is
seriously.
insane.
No, I mean I did like different time lengths with each of the kids. Um But I would see a lot of that information online where it'd be like, oh, it's so easy and it's like the best thing. It's how you connect with your baby. And I would feel like if I don't try to do this, they're not going to like love me. We're not going to be able to bond. But like, and I tried to tell you this too, like if it ends up not working out, that's okay. Like
Mhm.
formula is fine.
Yeah.
And formula is expensive, I'll say that.
Mhm.
But like formula has come so far from, back in the day, like when our moms
We
were
should
having
we
babies.
should not have drank
I
bubbles.
told you it makes you burp, right? We're like, "Rrr, let's have a burp contest. I will win.
Uh,
But yeah, no, breastfeeding's crazy. Like the journey in and of itself is difficult and rewarding at the same
mhm.
time. Probably one of
And
the only things I could say.
what's crazy is that how they tell you that it's the way that you connect with your baby and you can feel so much closer to them. I honestly didn't feel that
Yeah.
when I was breastfeeding. I felt like a milkman, like a
Yeah.
milk machine.
Yes.
And then once I started pumping, I felt like, again, the mom guilt, like I was taking time away from her because I would try to maintain the same schedule
Yeah.
as her. Like when she eats, I pump.
Mhm.
So it was always somebody else feeding her, my husband or my
Mm.
mom. And I didn't get to feed her then. I would every now and then. Sometimes I would
Mhm.
adjust my schedule so that I could feed her. But there was even some days where I would go an entire day and be like, "Let me feed her," because I did not get to physically feed
Yeah.
her. So I would say it wasn't until I really, maybe until I went back to
I was
work.
gonna say that is the most difficult thing of all.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when I went back to work, I would be able to pump, not having to worry about her schedule.
Yeah.
So, um, I was able to feed her when I would come back home, and then now that I'm weaning off of it and just giving her formula, I feed her
Yeah.
almost all the time. And I feel more that connection now that I'm the one
Yes.
physically giving her
And
food.
it's more at ease, right? Like she's being fed,
Yeah.
she's happy and healthy, and you don't have that constant pressure on you.
And I've heard so
Yeah.
many people say that it's just, again, like a light switch when you decide to supplement or
Yeah.
to stop. And that's what happened to me when I was still on maternity leave, but maybe about halfway around that month mark, I
Yeah.
was still breastfeeding, but my supply wasn't keeping up with her needs.
Yeah.
And so I was stressing about trying to pump more,
Yeah.
eating all the cookies,
Those
drinking
cookies
all
are
the tea.
good.
Those cookies are good. I was having 2 packs a day, which is what it says on the box.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, but once I finally decided to just make up the difference with the formula,
Yeah.
it was like a light switch. It
Yeah.
was just, I was so much more calm and happy
Yeah.
and at ease. So
Uh,
next baby, I will definitely have the formula on standby.
yeah.
Just having it there, I know will make me feel better.
Just ease your mind. Yeah, no, I remember trying to do the whole like pumping at work thing. And again, we work in an atmosphere that's just like constant. There's like rarely time for yourself, especially
Yeah.
where I was in that
Yeah,
time period.
at least for the most part, where we work is a big, huge open space.
Yeah.
And for a while, I worked in that big, huge open space. But some people have offices, and I'm one of those people that has an office. So I would
Mm.
just shut my door. It granted has a big ass window,
Yeah, yeah,
so I had to get like a little curtain
yeah.
action on there. But that made it easier for me. So I can't imagine.
No, I would end up, what happened is I would end up going the entire day without finding time to pump. And when I would leave, I would be so engorged that I just wanted to cry. Like
Hmm.
I would cry on my way home, and it was probably like that for a good month where I was like depleting my supply, like it was slowly going away. But with all my kids, and and I'm blessed to not have had any issues with like providing milk. I think with Harper, since she was a pandemic baby, I like prided myself. I had a whole stash, all these bricks of like,
And then you see so many women on TikTok with those types of videos.
yeah,
People uh like bagging their milk and
yeah,
doing every single day they have an oversupply
yes,
to where they have fridges
yeah,
full of
hmm,
milk. And I kind of expected that.
yeah,
And then you get all these free um storage bags from your
oh,
insurance.
yes,
So I was like,
hmm,
"Oh, I'm going to need these, right?
yeah,
I'm going to have so much milk."
yeah.
No.
No, not the case. Yeah, and it's not the
I
case
did
for.
did not even use like hardly any of those bags. I started using them as transport methods. Like instead of putting it in a bottle at work, I would just put them in a bag.
Oh,
So I'm like,
yeah,
let me put these bags to use because they're
yeah.
not going to go in the freezer.
I know. I'm like, yeah, no, we would have bricks of them, and so, but I wouldn't showcase that on the internet, so I'm not part of that problem. But yeah, no, then I would find though, like eh, the kids didn't even like the frozen. They wanted fresh milk, and I'm like, okay, spoiled
Yeah,
babies. I'm like, I've been working hard trying to pump and
they're
pour
gonna
all
grow
this.
up and not eat leftovers.
I know, rude.
They're gonna be those types of people.
No, my kids
That's
eat
my husband. My
leftovers.
husband will not eat leftovers. I'm
I
like,
I love a leftover. Sometimes it's better second
yeah,
day.
especially like anything Italian.
Yes.
Um, like a pot roast.
Mhm.
Um, like
What else?
like enchiladas.
Enchiladas. Anything that's got like a creamy base to it.
Yeah.
Like,
Even like
a
arroz con pollo,
yeah.
like
There are certain things like breakfast, probably not.
yeah.
And
If
we
it's
can
got
do.
egg, no.
Oh, and she doesn't like eggs.
Oh yeah.
That's probably the weirdest thing. I was like, I don't know
It's
if I could
probably
be
the what
friends with you,
yeah,
but
but granted it's also what I hate most about myself. So
I know. Well, when I found that, I was like, okay, a little self-deprecating. I can do
yeah. It's
it.
not like I'm like, "Oh, I don't like
Do
eggs."
you remember this one time we were like, I don't know why we were talking about eggs, but I went on and on about how much I like eggs.
No.
And you were like, okay, Amanda Vines. You
Oh,
were
yeah.
like,
I like eggs. Now look into the camera and do that.
I like eggs. Yeah. And I was like, what are you talking about? And you showed it to me, and I was like, oh, okay, I won't talk about eggs that much. I felt
I
like,
don't remember that you didn't know what I was talking about.
yeah, I didn't know you had to show me.
Oh, because I'm a child, right? And she's
Yeah.
an adult.
I like eggs. Yeah, I was like deviled eggs, scrambled eggs, over easy eggs, sunny side up.
Like on a Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Shrimp scampi, shrimp gumbo, shrimp fried rice.
Hmm.
I don't know. He doesn't say
I
shrimp
don't say,
fried
I know. I was
rice.
like, I don't remember that one, but all of those would be good on
Yeah.
second day foods. I could say that much. Yeah. No. I think our family does eat leftovers for the most part. The one thing is Andy's probably the pickiest eater in the building, in the house. He doesn't. I have recently, so like growing up, I would eat Frito pie. Like I love Frito
Yeah,
pie.
we ate Frito pie for dinner.
Wait, okay, yes.
Yeah.
We eat Frito pie for dinner. That's so like I don't even know what that's called, but we're that person. But I don't like Frito pie. Like if you go to a game and they do like the liquid cheese with the
Oh my
like,
god, I love it like
you
that.
like that kind? No, no,
Yes.
no.
I
I
like
like
it
a,
better. You like the
oh,
shredded cheese?
I love shredded cheese and
Mm-mm.
homemade chili. Like I'm not talking chili from a can.
No, I like chili from a can, and I like the nacho
The
cheese.
nacho cheese. No, I'm
Yeah.
not a fan. So, but we do. So the way I do it, I'll make like a full batch of chili because I could eat chili with cornbread, but like Andy doesn't like chili. So Frito pie, no, he doesn't like enchiladas because of the way like the.
Listen, I be judging people who don't like what I like
I mean, I'm
to eat,
sometimes I'm
though.
like, how did we get married? How did I remarry you just the
Uh.
other day? But no, so I got to a point in our marriage where I was like, you know what? We like Frito pie. We're gonna eat Frito pie, and if you don't want it, like,
Go get you
go get
something.
something else. Because
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it for years because I knew he didn't like it. And so just yesterday he was saying like he's okay with Frito pie, and I was like,
Oh,
oh.
yay.
I was like, claps for
You know what we call
Andy.
that? Growth.
Growth. Yeah. Yeah, I was like,
It only took 10 years, but.
And he goes, I just put a lot of relish in it because yeah. Well, so for our Frito pie, my mom, this is my mom's thing. She would put relish in ours. So it's like almost kind of like a hot dog.
I'm not with it. But
Not
I guess
sweet.
I do on my hot dogs. I put chili cheese, cucumber, and tomato.
Cucumber?
Hmm It's good
Oh.
because it's like you get the savory from the chili, and then
Yeah.
you get like a refreshing, like.
Well, that's what relish is for, baby.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I guess I
Not
see it.
sweet though. Don't be coming over with sweet relish. Like if you have a
Go back to
barbecue,
the stove.
go back. Sweet relish is gone. Get out of here, Heinz. Just do away with it. Recall it forever.
You know, I don't think I've ever had a relish. I never really gave it a try, but I love pickles. So
You'll like dill relish.
yeah.
I'm about to go get a spoonful right now. We're gonna do a taste test.
Please
Oh
don't. I don't
no.
think that would go well with
Relish and orange juice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go relish in mine. Spoil it before you leave. Oh, sorry. No, yeah. So, growth for Andy. We just got to get Steven now on the leftovers. Like, how can we fix that?
Sometimes I'll tell him I'm like, I'm not making. I mean, I don't. I
Mhm.
won't like make anything else, but
Okay.
most of the time, if I don't make something else, he'll go get himself something, and I'm like, you're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just depends on the type of leftovers, but he also doesn't like enchiladas, which is weird.
Oh, he doesn't?
Yeah.
I know that he does like fideo,
He loves fideo.
right? I've heard you
Yes.
many a times.
I like to
Steven
tell
on
the story
fideo.
about our fideo journey because
All right, that does it for part 1 of Lady on the Street podcast. Make sure you tune in next week for part 2, and don't forget to follow me on social media at Lady on the Street podcast. You can find me on all of the major platforms. And of course, if you're here on YouTube, make sure you like, rate, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next week.